the best things in life takes time. When I was younger, I was impatient because I had the naivety of thinking that dreams would come quickly. But the best things in life take time. From simple things like food, preparation, to more complicated issues of parenting and marriage, the best things in life take time. People who don't have time to cook don't cook well, because the best things in life take time. You can get married, you can have a wedding in 30 minutes, but it takes years to have a marriage. The best things in life take what? It is a sharp contrast between being rich and being wealthy. You can hit the lottery, receive an inheritance. You can be catapulted from rags to riches, and you can be rich quick. Though many define wealth differently than how I will today, true wealth isn't just about money, but it is about the lessons you learn while struggling upward. If you have money without wisdom, you will soon be parted from your money. The best things in life take time, takes relationships. You've got the money, but because it was given to you quickly, you didn't build the infrastructure to sustain it. You don't have the relationships to sustain it. You don't have the information to sustain it. And most people who hit the lottery, 70 to 80% of them go broke within 5 years. You can't imagine that you could hit that much money and lose it. But the truth of the matter is, God is teaching us that the best things in life take time. There are things that you learn from struggling. There are things that you learn from tests and trials and trial and error. Some of my best teachers were failure. It takes time to do well. It takes even longer to be well. Let's listen at the words of Solomon when he talks out of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 through 2. And listen at Solomon, the wise man, the wise man. He says, to everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under heaven. He says, to everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under heaven. You got purpose, but do you understand season and time? Now, we read over that quickly, but we really don't think about it, because if we thought about it, we would understand that some people are seasonal. Some relationships are seasonal. Some opportunities are seasonal. And yet when we see the seasons change, we think the blessing has ceased. But it is not that the blessing has ceased, it is that the season has changed. There's a great deal, I got a lot of trees in my yard. There's a great deal of difference between how my yard looks in the spring and how it looks in the fall. And by the time it gets to winter, quite frankly, the trees are ugly and barren and destitute. And if you came in the winter and saw it, you would have no idea of how beautiful it would be if it takes time. There is a time to be born, and there is a time to die. If I had time, I'd talk about they are very similar, birth and death. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Now listen at what he says. There's a time to plant and there's a time to pluck up that which is planted. Do you know the difference in your life? The difference between knowing when to plant and when to pluck. Have you ever asked God, maybe you've asked him when to plant, but have you ever asked him when to pluck up? Or are you intent on keeping that which is planted to the destruction of plucking up that which you have become accustomed to? You can't have a new season until you are willing to say goodbye to the season you had. I call it the art of letting go, the spirit of release, not wrestling, releasing. Some of you are wrestling to hold on to something that God is trying to take away from you, and you need to release it and simply let it go. That was that season. When I was a child, I thought as a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, but when I became a man, I had to let go of childish things, childish thinking. I thought as a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child. If you are still talking the way you were talking 10 years ago, I've got bad news for you. You have a deformity, a spiritual dysfunction that keeps your thoughts in one dimension. That means you can't fall in love with your thoughts. I want all the stubborn people to say amen. Because if you are stubborn with your thoughts, you delay your next season. I have watched some of the greatest people in every industry you can imagine. I've had the privilege of having relationships with people who were at the top of their game in just about every industry you can imagine. Those that leave the greatest impact understand timing. Timing is everything. Timing is everything. Say it with me. Timing is everything. Say it again. Many people don't realize that part of the art of baking is timing. There are a lot of people that cook but don't bake because part of the art of baking is timing. The difference between a dry cake and a moist cake is, come on. Talk to, the difference between a moist cobbler and a dry cobbler is whenever you taste a dry one, you know they left it in the oven. Oh, come on. Oh, somebody knows what I'm talking about. You've got to understand it's timing in baseball. It's not just skill. It is the timing that causes the batter to be effective at swinging the bat. You can have the right swing, but if you swing at the wrong time, you won't have the impact that you should have had. Some of you are trying to do the right swing, but you're swinging at the wrong time. You're in such a hurry that you're swinging before the ball can strike the target because you are more moved by the crowd than you are by the ball. Timing is everything. Many people don't realize that not only is timing everything in baseball and baking, it is also everything when it comes to comedy or speaking or music. It's about timing. It's not just can you read music, can you keep time? It's not can you tell a joke, but can you time the joke? It's not can you speak a message, can you use timing to convey information? You can give great information out of time and be an incompetent speaker because you don't understand timing. Everything is a rhythm. Everything is a rhythm. God is a rhythm. Breathing is a rhythm. Circulation is a rhythm. Heartbeat is a rhythm. Pulse is a rhythm. Everything that is alive has a rhythm. Birth has a rhythm. A woman's body has a rhythm. God is telling us over and over and over in nature, in creation, in procreation, that timing is everything. You can't be fruitful out of season. Somebody shout, teach me to know my season. Help me with my timing. You can be right about what you said, but wrong about when you said it, and do more damage than you did good. It's not about right and wrong, it's about timing. Right information delivered at the wrong time can tear a marriage up, can cause a child to feel defeated, can stop a loan from going through, can stop the house from being built, can stop you from having the peace you ought to have. You're worried about being right. You need to be worried about Timing, 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 time, 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 time. Timing is everything. Timing is absolutely everything. One thing I know for sure, I came to Dallas at the right, 38 years old, it was the right time. Any sooner would have been a disaster. I wasn't ready for it. Any later would have been too late. It wasn't ready for me. It wasn't just the right time in my life, it was the right time in Dallas. It was the right time in history. You have to do things at the right time or you're not going to have the effect that you would have had because you don't understand timing, because timing is what? Timing is what? Wake up. Timing is what? Wake up. Timing is what? Timing is absolutely everything. I've given this illustration before, but I want to paint it again for you that have not heard it. Harlan Sanders built an amazing business because he did the right thing at the right time. KFC came at a time in the American history that women had just started to go to work. It came at a time in history that families were still sitting around the table. It solved the problem. How can we simulate a family dinner without the woman being home to cook? Doing the right thing at the right time. It wasn't just about the chicken is good. It was that the need was great. It solved the problem and it came at the right. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. Let me make this clear. If he opened up now, he'd go bankrupt. You can sustain it at this level, but you can't start it at this level because now if you open it up, they want to know, is it gluten-free? Do you have vegan chicken? I'm a pescatarian. They were not asking those questions at that time. Success is as much about timing as it is about anything else. Do you know what time it is in your life? I've got a watch on my wrist. I've got a phone, both of them backing up so that I know what time it is in the day. But do I know what time it is in my life? Is it time to put away childish things? I can only be fruitful in my season. The Bible said you shall bring forth fruit in your season. Your leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever you do shall prosper. You have to know when it's your season, and you have to know when it's over. You have to know when to hold it. You have to know when to fold it. You cannot see folding as failure. It's all about timing. Oh, talk to me. It's all about timing. Timing is everything. I have preached this text many, many, many times. I have preached it many, many ways. There is an eschatological element of this text that I won't touch today that speaks to the end time. We could talk about it that way. But the reason I'm in this text today and the reason I want to luxuriate in this text, after many days I have been seeing entangled roots underground. For me, this message did not start with the text. It started with a vision of entangled roots underground. Regardless of the plant type at the top of the soil, the roots mesh together underground. Whether it is weeds or wheat, if they are planted in the same space, the roots become entangled underground. And for days, God has been showing me entangled roots. I'm going to go deeper into this in a minute. Are you ready to go with me? I said, are you ready to go with me? I said, are you ready to go with me? Timing is what? Say it again. Timing is what? Good. The text starts with a very common phrase. The kingdom of heaven is lacking. Shows us that kingdom truths are veiled in comparisons. He doesn't tell us what the kingdom is. He tells us what the kingdom is like. So the kingdom truths that I am meant to get out of this will come through it is veiled in comparisons. Whenever the truths are veiled in comparison, you cannot become so inundated with the comparison that you fail to dig beneath the soil of the text to extract the truth. Why is Jesus telling us this story? It is not just so that we may know the story, it is that we might understand the truth that is hidden in the fabric of the story. So we can't just read through it and say, I'm through with it and I know the story, because we have to understand that the revelation is hidden in the analogy. It hides behind the parable. It is locked up in the parable in such a way that it causes you not only to read, but to think. If you don't think when you read, you won't retain what you heard. Some people will hear this message and get nothing because they will not add the necessary quotient of thinking with hearing. And if you don't think, I am not your preacher. I cannot preach to people who don't think. So everybody's not for me. I'm cool with that. I understand that. I get that. That's okay. It's okay. If God is hiding, is God hiding? Let me go that way. Is God hiding the kingdom in parables to avoid exposure? No. God isn't the one who hides from us his glory. That notion is counterintuitive to who Jesus is himself. Jesus is God revealed. Isaiah 53 says this word, and it is important. Who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? Jesus is God revealed to us. He is God extending himself. When it calls the arm of the Lord, it's talking about Jesus, because Jesus is God extending himself from divinity to humanity. Jesus came to express God, and we beheld the wonder of his glory, the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Why would Jesus come to express God and then hide God? He is the revealer. He is the author of the book of Revelations. John penned it, but Jesus said it. He is the revealer. So let us not think that God is hiding when God is revealing. So when we look at this, we begin to understand that it is man who loves darkness rather than light, because his deeds are evil. It is man who hid in the garden from God. It is man who walks away from truth and hides his wickedness and his iniquity from God. There is not a person in this room that isn't hiding something. Oh, you're not going to talk to me. But I'm going to keep on dragging till I get it. There is not a person in this room that isn't hiding something. I have news for the young people who are talking about keeping it 100. Nobody keeps it 100. You might keep it about 90. If you want to lose everything, keep it 100. If you want to destroy everything, keep it 100. If you want to lose your job Monday morning, go in there and keep it 100. I don't even want to be here. I'm sick of all of y'all, and I never liked you in the first place. And you make me sick, and you get on my nerves, will get you fired. But you keeping it 100. If you want to get divorced real quick and she asks you, do my hips look big in this? And you respond, look like two bears fighting in the woods under a blanket. I'm just saying. Or he says, am I the greatest lover you ever had? No, you about number 10. I just love you and I put up with it and I act like you just killing me and driving me crazy. But the truth of the matter is I was thinking about what I was going to wear to work. That's keeping it 100. It's also keeping you in divorce court. There's not a person in this room that isn't hiding something. God has nothing to hide. So when God says the kingdom of heaven is lack, we must not think that God is hiding the truth as if he were playing hide and go seek with us. What he is doing as the master rabbi is a teacher explaining the unexplainable to a far less intelligent being. What the kingdom of heaven is like a first grade teacher teaching a student what it is like to be in Paris, what it is like to travel the world. She has to consider the age and the intellectual development of the student in order to be effective at teaching. She is not hiding, she is reducing it down to the level of the audience she is talking to. So when Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is lack, it is God stooping. It is God coming to our level. Can you prove it? Yes, as high as the heavens are above the earth, so are my thoughts above your thoughts and my ways above your ways. If I spoke it to you on my level, you would never understand it. So I speak to you in metaphors and similes and comparisons so that you can learn what the kingdom of heaven is like. And I have to find something that you can compare it to, because what I am talking about is so high that I'm breaking it down in the first line. When I say the kingdom of heaven is like, I'm talking baby talk. Goo goo gaga gaga daddy. Goo goo gaga babo gaba ba da da. That's what Jesus is doing when he's talking to us. He is breaking down through the parable some truths that we must take with us. I've got 5 lessons I'm going to tell you out of this text, and I'm going to talk about them, and I'm going to sit down. 5 things that are to be excavated out of this text for the purpose of my assignment today, because all of the times that I have ever preached this text, I have never seen the significance of timing to the text. But timing, say it again, say it again. And then I want you to think, before I give you my first lesson point, I want you to think, why does God have me here this morning? How does this apply to my life? What is God saying to me? Why am I watching this particular message at this particular time in my life? What in my life needs to be better timed? I made my decisions this morning according to time. I took my shower according to what time it was. I got dressed according to what time it was. I had to keep track of the time, because if I lose track of time, I will always be late. And if I am late, I lose. Because timing is, why would I want to be in a service and the glory moved and I missed it? If you miss the first song when the choir starts singing "The Lord is blessing me right now," and the whole audience was up front, and you had young people dancing off of old music and old people scooting from side to side, you miss one of the building blocks of which I'm standing on right now, because timing is If you don't respect time, you will never be wealthy, you will never be successful, you will never be mighty. Only poor folks, inwardly and outwardly, care nothing about timing, because timing is... Now, for the benefit, before I give the lesson, let me make sure that you understand the story. In the story, we have a certain man who had his servants to sow good seed in the field. And while they slept, and I used to preach against them sleeping until I realized that everybody has to go to sleep sometime. It is impossible for you to stay up around the clock. The enemy comes in while they are asleep and plants the weeds or the tare while they're sleeping. In the story, they don't wake up the next morning and know the enemy has been there, because the enemy has planted it in such a way that when they wake up in the morning, they do not notice any change. Notice the timing. It was not the next day. But while they did not notice it, the evil or weeds were sown in the wheat.
Help us.
Anybody who understands, don't let me get ahead of myself. Anybody who understands this understands that there are important truths to be learned. Lesson number one: it is naive to think that the planting of good exempts us from the presence of bad. It is naive to think that the planting of good exempts us from the presence of bad. This is important for us to understand. Just because God allows wheat to be planted doesn't mean that weeds are restricted. Are you hearing what I'm saying? The kingdom is like this. The kingdom is like this. So we have to be able to produce in the presence of weeds. So for all of you who are waiting for all the weeds to be gone before you produce the wheat, you are not digging deep enough into this text, because this text declares there will never be a day that you can be wheatful without being weedful. God allows the wheat to be planted. That doesn't mean that the weeds are restricted. Wheat is planted with great intentionality. Wheat is planted with great intentionality. In other words, wheat is not going to grow in this ground if it is not planted. It is not a natural result of the climate, the soil, the rain, and the sunshine. It has to be planted. Nobody succeeds accidentally. Nobody wins a marathon accidentally. Nobody wins the Olympics accidentally. Nobody gets a master's degree accidentally. Nobody gets a diploma accidentally. Nobody passes a GED accidentally. Nobody gets a promotion accidentally. Just because you pray doesn't mean you win. This is work. This is sweat. This is labor, because this is agriculture. And agriculture means that the intention of sowing the seed is that I might have wheat. And the intention of having wheat is that I might have bread. From seed to wheat to bread is going to take. I can't plant seed today. and eat bread tonight. Because timing is. So if I am going to be seedful, I have to be patient for the seed to grow first down and then up. You didn't get that. It's going to first grow down and then up. Some of you are standing over your life talking about, I don't see nothing. I don't see nothing. I keep sowing and I don't see nothing. The seed grows down before it grows up. You're not supposed to see it, but just because you don't see it doesn't mean that the roots are not growing in the soil. And if you wait a little while, it is going to go from seed to wheat, and from wheat to bread. And there is work in between every stage. The seed is work, the weed is work, the bread is work. You cannot eat any better than you work. Now somebody say your blessing is going to be work. When you get through dancing and shouting about the promise of God, understand that you're going to have to break some sweat. You're going to have to put some effort in it. You're going to have to grind the wheat. You're going to have to pulverize it. You can't just bring the wheat in and make bread until you crush it. It's got to be crushed. It's got to be made into a usable form. And so it doesn't mean that God hasn't blessed you with the bread. It could mean that you haven't put in the work to go from seed from seed to, oh, you're listening this morning. Look at somebody and tell them, I'm going from seed to wheat to bread. I might not be ready for consumption right now, but I'm in process and I'm going somewhere. And don't look down at me because I'm not bread. I may be in the wheat stage, I may be in the seed stage, but I am on my way to a place that God has destined for me. Who am I talking to this morning? Whoever I'm talking to, God says, hang on in there. I'm not finished with you yet. I'm taking you through process. And at the right time, I'm going to take you from seed to I'm still dancing off. It's already done. It's already done. It's already done. And it is done on purpose. I want you to get this. The reason it is planted is because it is not indigenous to the land. The word agriculture is rooted in the word cult. Cult means you're not orthodox, means you're not natural, you're not normal. Agra means land. That means that wheat is not normal to the land. You can't just wish for it. You have to make it happen. Agriculture. Culture. I'm going to make this happen. It is not indigenous. You don't get it just because you want it. You gotta plant it. You gotta be intentional about it. You gotta work on it. You gotta labor for it, because you were not raised in an environment that agrees with your dream. That doesn't mean you can't have it. It means that you've got to be cultured cultural enough to be a cult against your neighborhood. I'm the only one in my family. I'm the only one in my neighborhood. I'm the only one in my city. I'm the only one in my house. And they don't like me at the family reunion. And they don't invite me back to the parties. And my friends have changed because I am cultish to them. I broke the rule. I got out. Everybody who got out makes some noise. Yeah. Faith is a cult to the unbeliever. It is not natural to the unbeliever. Stop trying to make the people at work understand what they can't understand. It is not indigenous to them for them to believe. If the gospel be hid, it is hid from them that are lost. They can't see it. Can I go deeper? How many people are getting blessed in this room? You've got to be willing to be different. You've got to be willing to be controversial. You've got to be willing to be talked about. And the greatest problem in our community right now is that we are so sensitive. We're more worried about being liked than we are being fruitful. And you're praying to God about what they said, and she said, and he said, and God said, unless you deny mother, father, sister, brother, and even deny yourself, you cannot be my disciple. What they say about you doesn't matter. Weeds don't like wheat. Get it to your head. Weeds don't like wheat. You got to decide, do you want to be wheat or do you want to be weeds?